ballroom glittered with light and laughter that night, the annual Veterans Fundraiser in full swing. Waiters in crisp uniforms moved gracefully between tables draped in white linen, serving champagne to politicians, CEOs, and decorated officers. The room buzzed with polite applause and polite smiles, a celebration of service that, for many, was more about prestige than gratitude. Near the back entrance, the doors creaked open, and an old man stepped inside. His coat was frayed at the edges, his shoes worn thin. He walked with a limp, using a cane that had clearly seen better days. No one noticed him at first, not until he shuffled closer to the stage, his cloudy eyes scanning the rows of uniforms and medals. "Excuse me," he whispered to one of the ushers. "I heard there was a fundraiser for veterans. I served once. Thought maybe—" The usher wrinkled his nose. "Sir, this is a private event. Invitation only." The old man nodded, embarrassment coloring his face. "I understand. I just wanted to pay my respects." But before he could turn to leave, another man, tall, dressed in an expensive tuxedo, grabbed his arm. "Hey, you can't just wander in here like this," he snapped. "This isn't a shelter." "I'm sorry," the old man stammered. "I didn't mean any harm." "Out," the man barked, gesturing to security. Two guards approached, taking the old man gently but firmly by the arms. Guests began to whisper. "Who let him in?" Someone murmured. "Probably just another drunk. This is supposed to be a respectable event." The guards led him toward the door, his cane slipping from his trembling hand. It clattered across the marble floor. But then, silence. From across the room, a commanding voice boomed, "Stop!" All heads turned. Standing near the stage was Admiral Robert Hayes, the highest-ranking officer in attendance, his chest gleaming with ribbons. He had been the guest of honor, surrounded by senators and generals, until now. The admiral's eyes were fixed on the old man. Slowly he began to walk forward, the crowd parting around him in confusion. The guards froze. The tuxedoed man who had started the commotion stepped back uncertainly. When the admiral reached the old man, he stopped, and then, to everyone's shock, snapped into a perfect salute. The entire room fell silent. "Sergeant Major William Harper," the admiral said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'll be damned." The old man blinked in surprise. You remember me?" The admiral dropped his salute and grasped his hand. "Sir, I served under you in Quezon. You saved my entire unit when we were surrounded. You carried 2 men out under fire, took a bullet to the leg, and refused to leave until everyone else was safe." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The tuxedoed man's face turned pale. "I thought you were gone," the admiral continued. "They told us you never made it out of that hospital in Da Nang." The old man smiled faintly. "Guess I'm too stubborn for that." The admiral turned sharply to the guards. "Release him." They immediately let go. "And pick up that cane with respect." He placed a steadying hand on the old man's shoulder. "You don't ever get turned away from an event like this. Not while I'm breathing." For the next few moments, the ballroom was utterly still. Then, one by one, the guests began to rise. Officers, civilians, even politicians, all standing in silence as the admiral led Sergeant Major Harper to the center of the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," the admiral announced, his voice echoing through the hall, "you're looking at one of the last living heroes of the 5th Marine Division, the man who led a rescue under heavy fire and refused to take credit for it. We give medals to men like me, but it's men like him who earned them." Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then growing stronger, rising to a thunderous ovation. People who moments ago had dismissed him as a nobody were now cheering through tears. The tuxedoed man lowered his head in shame. The admiral guided the old veteran to a chair at the head table, right beside him. "You sit here, Sergeant Major. This is your night." As dinner resumed, servers rushed to refill the old man's glass, treating him with reverence. A woman from the organizing committee whispered, "We'll make sure you're taken care of, sir. Whatever you need." But Harper just smiled, humbled. "All I ever needed," he said softly, "was for people to remember." Later that evening, as the speeches ended and the crowd began to mingle, the admiral approached him again. "Why didn't you ever come forward, Bill? You could have had honors, pensions, anything." Harper chuckled. "I didn't do it for medals, son. I did it because those boys were counting on me. That's what leadership means. You don't need a ceremony for that." The Admiral nodded, eyes shining. "Still, you deserve the world's thanks." A few hours later, when the event finally ended, the Admiral personally walked him to his old truck outside. Rain had started again, pattering softly on the hood. "You got a place to stay?" the Admiral asked. Harper hesitated. "Small apartment by the river. It's not much, but it's home." The Admiral looked at him for a long moment, then smiled. "Not anymore. Tomorrow morning a car will pick you up. You'll have a full military pension reinstated, and I'm assigning a unit to help you get settled. You've carried this country long enough, Sergeant Major. It's time it carried you." Harper's hands trembled as he wiped a tear from his weathered cheek. "You don't have to do that." "Yes, I do," the Admiral said firmly. "For every man who ever followed your orders and made it home because of you." They saluted each other one last time, the sound of rain mingling with the echo of engines starting up in the parking lot. As Harper drove away, he looked in the rear-view mirror and saw the Admiral still standing in the rain, hand raised in salute, the ballroom lights glowing behind him. For the first time in decades, the old soldier felt seen, and somewhere deep inside, he whispered the same words he used to tell his men before every mission. No man left behind. Because that night, the world finally remembered him, and proved that true honor never fades even when the medals rust.